Hi, I'm Kristie Sullivan, and today on Diet Doctor Explores, we're going to look at what's the best kind of chocolate to buy. Well, it depends on if you're cooking or eating with it. If you're just looking for a little bit of a snack, you're probably better off sticking to a chocolate bar that's higher in cacao, like a dark chocolate. In this range, I've got one that's 72% dark up to 100% unsweetened, and the carbs range too. In this case, it's 11 grams of carbs per ounce, or 30 grams of chocolate, and this is 2 grams of carbs per ounce, or 28 grams. Within this range, of course, the carbs are going to be higher with the lower values. The higher percent of cocoa that you get, the lower the carbs are likely to be. There are some exceptions to that, and you have to pay attention to serving size. Even within the same brand, this 86% cacao gives you lists a serving as 45 grams, or 10 grams of carbohydrates per serving for 45 grams. Now, it looks like that's a lot more carbs until you realize that the same brand at 30 grams or 1 ounce is only 5 grams of carbs. When you compare them, this is slightly higher, but make sure you're comparing the same serving size. Pay attention to the ingredients, and that's where we can get in trouble with some of the sugar-free bars. So you're gonna see things labeled keto, or you're gonna see that this says sugar-free, sweetened with stevia, and we know that stevia is an approved sweetener from Diet Doctor. Or we've got this one that also says stevia sweetened and no sugar added. But when you start to look at the ingredients and start to figure the net carbs, you'll find that even though this says it's only 2 net carbs per serving, it has inulin and dextrin. Now, inulin and dextrin may be safe for some people, but if you have diabetes type 1 or type 2, it may impact your blood glucose. So if you're doing this for medical reasons or to control a metabolic issue, make sure you test your blood glucose before and after using. This one has maltitol in it. Maltitol is a really inexpensive sweetener. It's used by a lot of food manufacturers. Not only does it cause gastric distress, it also is notorious for raising blood sugar. So it's a sugar alcohol that's really not safe to deduct. That's one that we would definitely not eat in my family. And then this one has tapioca fiber. Again, when you look at the net carbs, it looks pretty good, but adding the tapioca fiber is what actually lowers the carbs and gives you the lower net carb. And again, if you have diabetes, you want to test your blood glucose. As with any of these, you want to test before and after eating. Now, this one was interesting because it's 100% cacao, no sugar added, and when I start looking at the ingredients, it has cacao, shredded coconut, and cocoa butter. There's no sugar and there's no added sweetener. And so it's actually pretty interesting that it's only 3 grams of carbs for an ounce, or 28 grams of chocolate. So that actually may be an exception to my don't buy anything that says it's keto or sugar-free. Last, you've got to pay attention to serving size. It's not 3 grams of net carbs for this entire bar. In fact, it's that serving size for 4 pieces or an ounce. So if I open up the chocolate, these 4 pieces are a serving. So this would be my 3 net carbs per serving. So you can nibble on that a bit at a time. That would actually be a lot of chocolate for me. Or another safe thing to do is to buy it already packaged in bites. So this is 92% dark, and the package says that it gives you 3 squares for 5 carbs, 5 net carbs. And so these little squares of chocolate are already portioned for you. So you can have a little bit more portion control with these things, and probably 1 to nibble on because it's such a dark chocolate would be plenty. And you're gonna get about, let's say, 2 carbs, 2 net carbs, and something like that. The same thing is true for this one. It's 88% dark chocolate, but it's going to be roughly 5 carbs for 2 pieces of that as well. If you're cooking with chocolate, you might want to stick with the 100% unsweetened chocolate, because then you can add your own sweetener to it as much or as little as you like. If you have questions, check out the sweetener guide on Diet Doctor to see what sweeteners work best and which ones to avoid. And you also might want to spend some time with the chocolate recipe collection that I put together, because now you know exactly which chocolates to use.